Part 1. The Mask Appears. The air inside Thorne's Antiques and Oddities was musty, thick with the scent of old wood, forgotten leather, and something faintly metallic, like rusted chains. Emily Carter stood just inside the threshold, uncertain. The bell above the door had jangled weakly as she stepped in, and now it was silent. Even the street outside seemed a world away. Emily was 22, a senior at Brookhaven College of Arts, known for her obsession with strange aesthetics and forgotten relics. She had wandered into the shop on a whim, drawn by a sign in the window that read, "Masks from around the world, rare and cursed." Cursed? Yeah, right, she thought, smirking. Still, her fingers trembled slightly with curiosity. The shop was crammed from floor to ceiling. Porcelain dolls with glass eyes watched her from shelves. Animal skulls, dusty books with no titles, and rows of cracked phonographs lined the aisles. Everything felt a little off, but it was the back wall that caught her eye. A wall of masks, dozens of them, African tribal masks, Japanese no masks, Venetian carnival masks, all staring down at her, silent and still. But one stood apart. It was unlike any she had ever seen. It was bone white with deep angular carvings and jet black eye holes that seemed bottomless. There were no straps, no visible way to wear it. Yet the shape seemed to invite the face, as if it would mold itself onto the wearer. "Ah!" came a voice behind her, low and raspy. "You found it." She turned sharply to see an old man with eyes like burnt coal and fingers stained with ink or soot. He wore a long coat that seemed too heavy for the summer heat. "I wasn't going to touch anything," Emily said quickly. The man chuckled. "Most people don't see that mask at all." She frowned. "What do you mean?" "It doesn't like being seen. It chooses its audience." Emily looked back at the mask. It hadn't moved, but something about it now felt watchful. "Where's it from?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Origin unknown. It's been in my family for generations. Never sold it before. Never could. But you?" He tilted his head. "You're different. It wants you." A chill crawled up her spine. Emily forced a scoff. "You make it sound like it's alive." The old man didn't laugh this time. "In some ways, it is." She should have walked out right then, but her curiosity had teeth. She couldn't stop staring at the mask. Without fully realizing it, she reached for her wallet. "How much?" The man paused. "For you? $20. Emily blinked. "That's it? Think of it as an exchange, not a purchase." She left the store 10 minutes later, mask in hand, wrapped in black cloth, heart beating faster than she wanted to admit. That night, Emily's apartment was a small studio above a bakery. The smell of bread always clung to her clothes, something she used to complain about, but now found oddly comforting. She placed the mask on her desk, unwrapped it, and stared. It was mesmerizing. Under the lamplight, the carvings looked deeper, almost shifting. She reached out, touched the surface. Cold, smooth, but not like ceramic or bone, more like skin. "Creepy," she muttered, but she didn't pull her hand away. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jake. "Movie night tomorrow? Horror marathon. Popcorn included." She smiled. Jake had been her best friend since freshman year. He was the only person who knew about her obsession with masks, weird folklore, and all things macabre. "I'm in." "Got something to show you too." She placed the mask on her face, just to see. There were no straps, yet it stayed. At first, she laughed. "Look at me," she said into the mirror. Creepy queen. Then she tried to take it off, and nothing happened. She pulled harder. The mask didn't budge. Panic surged. Her nails scratched the edge, trying to find where it ended, and she began. Okay, she whispered. She rushed to the bathroom, turned on the light, and froze. Her reflection wasn't hers. It wore the mask, yes, but the eyes were not hers. They were black, ancient, full of something inhuman. Her body shuddered, but the figure in the mirror stood still. Then it smiled. Emily screamed. She clawed at the mask again, yanking, twisting, but it had become her skin. No seam, no edge, just her face, and yet not her face. Finally, exhaustion overtook her. She collapsed on the bathroom floor, sobbing. Day 2. She called in sick to her classes, couldn't show her face literally. The mask had dulled slightly overnight, as if blending more with her skin tone. Still mask-like, but less jarring. She wrapped herself in scarves and wore sunglasses to cover the worst of it. She told Jake she had a migraine. He offered to come over. She said no. All day she heard whispers, not voices in her ears, but inside. Beneath her thoughts, we see through you. You let us in. She smashed her mirror. When night came, she dreamt of fire, of a woman in robes chanting in an ancient tongue, of masked figures dancing in blood. She woke up screaming. Day 3, Jake comes. Jake wouldn't take no for an answer. He showed up with soup, horror DVDs, and concern etched across his face. Emily greeted him at the door, half hidden behind a hoodie and scarf. Jesus, Em, you look like a goth beekeeper. She forced a smile. I'm fine, just a cold. Jake stepped in, handed her the soup. You're a terrible liar. He sat down, flipping through DVDs. You said you had something to show me? Emily hesitated. Then she turned away from him and slowly pulled the scarf down. Jake froze. What the hell? He stepped closer. Is that makeup? She shook her head. He reached out to touch it. It looks like a mask. It is a mask. Jake blinked. Okay, not funny. I'm serious, Jake. I can't take it off. He stared. Since when? 3 days. Jake sat down, pale. And you didn't go to a hospital? They'll think I'm insane or try to cut it off. Jake ran a hand through his hair. Where did you get it? She told him about the shop, the old man, the wall of masks. Jake looked like he'd seen a ghost. Thorne's Antiques? He said slowly. Yeah? That place burned down 10 years ago. Emily's breath caught. What? I remember it. My dad used to take me there. Then one day, boom, electrical fire. Total loss. The owner died in the blaze. Nobody rebuilt it. That's not possible, Emily whispered. Jake pulled out his phone, searched for the address. He showed her the screen, a photo of an abandoned lot, charred beams and overgrown weeds. Emily felt like the floor was tilting beneath her. So where the hell did I go? She said, voice trembling. Jake didn't answer. That night, the whispers returned. The mask pulsed. Emily felt it in her bones. That night, the whispers became clearer. You wore us. Now we wear you. She stumbled to her mirror. In the cracked glass, the masked reflection no longer mimicked her movements. It acted independently. It raised a hand before she did. It tilted its head the opposite direction. And then, it spoke. Emily Carter, your soul is soft. Your body is strong. We will make you eternal. Emily screamed. She smashed the mirror again. Then the lights flickered and died. A note from the past. Jake returned the next day with a folder of printed articles. Look, he said, eyes wide. I found something. Old cult stuff. Obscure. Pre-Christian. Called themselves the Faceless Order. Emily's hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. They believed masks were sacred vessels, Jake explained. They thought identity was a prison. They'd wear these masks during rituals to shed the self. Some of the masks were alive, possessed. They thought wearing one would let a spirit take over and grant you immortality. Emily stared at him. So what? I'm a vessel now? Jake didn't answer. Then he handed her a final photo, black and white, faded with age. A group of masked figures stood in a circle. In the center, a woman in a bone-white mask, the same one Emily wore now. She was the high priestess, Jake said. Burned alive by villagers. The mask was never found. Emily felt like she was falling. I'm dreaming, she said. Jake touched her hand. You're not. End of part 1. That night, Emily sat alone in the dark, listening to the wind scrape against her windows. The mask no longer felt like an object. It felt like a second heartbeat, like something alive pressed against her mind. She didn't sleep. When dawn came, the mask's eyes blinked once, and her own didn't. Part 2. The History Beneath the Skin. The sun rose blood red over Brookhaven. Emily Carter hadn't slept. The mask pulsed with a low hum, in rhythm with her heartbeat. She no longer needed to touch it to feel its presence. It was her face, her skin, her prison, and something inside it was awake. She sat on the edge of her bed, trembling fingers wrapped around the cracked photograph Jake had brought. The cult, the faceless order, the woman at the center, the same mask she now bore. Jake returned at 8 a.m., armed with coffee, books, and a haunted look in his eyes. Bad night? He asked gently. I don't know if I'm me anymore, Emily said. I looked in the mirror this morning, and for a second, my eyes weren't there. Just darkness. Jake sat beside her. We're going to fix this. I promise. She didn't reply. Threads of the past. They spent the day in the campus archives, diving into rare folklore records and ancient occult texts. Jake had emailed a professor he trusted, Dr. Helen Graves, an expert in comparative mythology and esoteric traditions. She agreed to meet them in 2 days. As Jake scoured an article about pre-Roman rituals, Emily paused on a brittle page from a 1903 journal. The white mask was known among the faceless order as the vessel of memory. It did not merely possess a spirit, it absorbed every soul that wore it. Each time a host perished, their essence remained. Over generations, the mask became a hive of voices, identities, and madness. Emily's hands trembled. "Jake," she whispered, "there are people in it." Jake looked up, alarmed. "What?" "They're not just spirits. They're memories, stuck, and I can feel them, watching, listening, whispering." Her voice cracked. "Sometimes I think I'm not even the one moving my arms." Jake clenched his fists. "We're going to figure out how to get it off. There has to be a way." But Emily wasn't sure. She wanted to know what that way would cost. The mask speaks. That night, as Emily lay in bed, she tried not to listen. But the voices grew louder. They weren't just whispering anymore. They were arguing. "She's too weak. She'll break. No, she's perfect. Let her become us. Set us free. Let us out. Let us in." She clutched her ears, screaming, "Shut up!" Then silence, and then one voice, clearer than the rest. It was female, calm, cold. "You wear me, Emily Carter. But I am older than your name, older than your world. You are not the first. You will not be the last." Emily curled into a ball, sobbing. "Who are you? The first, the last, the one who endured the fire." Emily's breath hitched. "You saw me in the photo, child. My flesh burned, but my soul endured. Bound to bone, bound to mask. I watched your world change, and now I wear your body like a dress." Emily's blood turned to ice. "I won't let you take me. You already have. Every time you forget your name, every time you dream of fire, that is me remembering, and you forgetting." Emily didn't sleep again. Dr. Graves. Dr. Helen Graves lived in a house filled with books, dried herbs, and the faint scent of candle wax. She was in her 60s, wore round glasses, and had the calm demeanor of someone who had stared into the abyss and taken notes. She didn't flinch when she saw Emily's face. "I've heard rumors of the faceless order," Graves said, motioning them to sit. "Most scholars dismiss them, but I've seen signs, similar masks, ritual scars, possessions that lasted weeks." She leaned in. "Yours is different." Emily said nothing. Jake did the talking. "She's hearing voices, seeing things, losing time." Graves nodded. "That's the beginning. The mask feeds on identity. Every hour you wear it, you become less you. Your thoughts become echoes. Eventually, it won't be you moving your body." Emily's voice was hoarse. "Can it be removed?" Graves hesitated. "Yes, but the ritual is dangerous. The mask was sealed with blood and fire. To reverse it, we need a site of origin, somewhere connected to the mask's past. And we'll need a mirror soul." Jake frowned. "What's that?" "A living person emotionally connected to the wearer, someone who can help anchor her identity during the ritual. Without it, she could shatter." Jake didn't hesitate. "I'll do it." Graves nodded, but her eyes were grim. "I'll prepare the ritual. You have 3 days. After that, the mask's integration may be irreversible." Slipping Emily's mind was slipping. She forgot her own birthday, called Jake by the wrong name, woke up standing in the hallway with blood on her fingers and no memory of what happened. She didn't tell Jake. He already looked exhausted, the weight of her curse dragging him down too. She spent the next 2 days journaling, writing every memory, every feeling, every small detail about who she was. If the mask tried to take her, she wanted something to fight back with. But the mask read her thoughts. "Your stories are dust. Names are lies. Let go. Let us in." The ruins Graves led them to an old forest on the outskirts of town. Deep within the woods stood the crumbling foundation of what had once been a stone church, overgrown, forgotten, and silent. "This is where the order performed their final rites," Graves explained. "It's where we'll unmake the mask." As twilight fell, she lit a ring of black candles. The air grew heavy, the scent of sulfur rising from the earth. "Emily," she said, "stand in the center. Jake, take her hand. Whatever happens, don't let go." Graves began to chant in a forgotten tongue. The sky darkened unnaturally fast, and then the mask screamed. Not a sound through Emily's mouth, but through the air itself. The trees shook. The candles flickered wildly. Emily's body convulsed. The mask began to glow. Jake gripped her hand tighter. "Stay with me, Em. Don't let it take you." The mask twisted her face into a grotesque grin. "You are nothing. She is nothing. We are forever." Graves poured a vial of dark liquid onto the stones. It hissed like acid. "Emily Carter!" Graves shouted, "Speak your name." The mask fought her tongue. But Emily clamped her jaw shut, focused on her journal entries, her memories, her soul. I'm Emily, she screamed. I live above the bakery. I hate olives. I love horror movies. I remember my mom's perfume. I remember who I am. The mask writhed. Its carvings glowed red. Jake leaned close, tears in his eyes. You're my best friend. You're strong. You're brave. Don't let them win. The mask shrieked and cracked. A burst of black smoke erupted from her face, throwing them all backward. When the smoke cleared, Emily lay unconscious. The mask lay beside her, split down the middle, hollow and still. Recovery. Emily awoke in Graves's guest room, wrapped in blankets. Her face was bare, human. Jake was asleep beside her, head resting on the bed. She touched her cheek, sobbed softly. It's gone. Graves stood in the doorway. You endured. That's rare. Is it over? Graves sighed. Mostly. The mask is inert now. But remember, part of it touched your soul. There may be echoes, dreams, voices. You'll need to stay grounded. Emily nodded. Jake stirred, opened his eyes. Hey, she smiled. Hey. They embraced tightly. No words. Later that night, Graves stored the mask's remains in a sealed glass box beneath layers of protective charms. But as she turned to leave the room, she heard something faint. A whisper. Not the end. Never the end. And behind her, one piece of the mask twitched. Part 3. The Final Unmasking. 2 weeks had passed since Emily Carter was freed from the cursed mask. The scar on her cheek, barely visible, was the only external trace of what had happened, but beneath her skin, in the quiet hours of the night, she could still feel it. Like a heartbeat that didn't belong to her, a pressure behind her eyes, a dream just out of reach. The worst part? The silence. No voices, no dreams, no whispers, just nothing. And somehow that felt more terrifying than before. Residue Jake visited every day, pretending things were normal. He brought movies, snacks, bad jokes, but Emily could see the cracks in his smile. He still had nightmares. She did too. I've been thinking about going back to Thorns, she said one afternoon out of nowhere. Jake froze, soda halfway to his mouth. What? Why? She shrugged. Closure. You mean the shop that doesn't exist? I know what I saw, Jake. I was inside it. Jake sighed. Come on, we burned the mask. Graves sealed it. You're free. She looked away. I don't feel free. That night she didn't sleep. In her dream, the mask wasn't on her face. It was inside her chest. Every breath echoed through the hollow of it, and behind her, rows of figures, faceless, watched in silence. When she woke, her hands were bleeding. She had scratched at her sternum in her sleep. The cracked seal, Dr. Helen Graves, didn't answer her phone the next morning. Jake offered to go with Emily, but she refused. Something inside her knew this was something only she could face. Graves's house was locked. No answer at the door. Emily circled to the back and found a window cracked open. She climbed inside, calling out. No response. The place looked wrong. Books overturned, candles burned to stubs, salt circles smeared, protective charms shattered. In the basement, where Graves had stored the mask, the glass case was broken. The mask, split in half during the ritual, was gone. Something cold touched Emily's spine. Then she saw the blood. A trail, small drops, led from the shattered case to the stairs, and on the wall, scrawled in something dark, "She is not done. The return." Emily ran. She didn't until she reached Jake's apartment, banging on the door until he opened it, eyes wide. "She's gone," Emily gasped. "Graves is gone. The mask is gone." Jake stared. "What?" Emily grabbed his arm. "Someone or something took it back." Jake didn't ask questions. He grabbed his coat and his flashlight. They returned to the ruins together. The old church site was different now, darker, colder, as if something unseen had stretched over the trees like a veil. Emily stepped into the center of the stone circle. Her heart pounded. "She wants me back," she whispered. Jake's flashlight flickered, then died, and then a sound. Not wind, not trees, footsteps. Emily turned slowly. Figures emerged from the shadows, dozens of them, all masked, all silent. At their center, a woman. Her robe was tattered, her skin burnt and cracked, but her eyes, glowing embers, held fury, hunger, and triumph. Emily recognized her instantly. The first one, the high priestess, the one who had spoken through the mask. And in her hands, the mask restored, whole again. "The choice, you were the best vessel," the woman rasped. "You fought us, and that makes you worthy." Emily stood her ground. "You can't control me anymore. You wore us and survived. That's rare. That makes you anchor. Emily's knees weakened. We do not want to possess you, the woman said. We want you to lead. Jake moved between them. You're not taking her. The woman tilted her head. You are the mirror soul. Your love grounds her. That love can be severed. She raised a hand, and Jake screamed, clutching his chest. His eyes rolled back. Stop! Emily shouted. She dropped to her knees. Please, let him go. I'll come with you. The priestess smiled and vanished. The masked figures dissolved like mist. Jake collapsed. Emily caught him, tears streaming. Jake! Jake, stay with me! His eyes fluttered. I felt her, inside me. Then he passed out. Graves's journal. Back at Jake's place, Emily found a journal in his bag, one he'd taken from Graves's office. Inside were sketches of the mask, annotations, and a final warning. Destroying the mask was never enough. The soul bound to it exists outside time. So long as a memory of her survives, she can return. Only by burning the anchor, the one she calls mirror, can the chain be broken. Emily stared at the page. She's going to try to kill Jake, she whispered. The final unmasking. Emily waited until Jake was asleep. Then she left. She returned to the ruins alone. The priestess was waiting, seated on a stone altar. You came, she said. Emily nodded. I remember everything now. The priestess rose. Then you know the truth. You are me. Emily stepped forward. No, I'm what you could never be. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a jagged shard, the broken piece of the original mask she had hidden during the ritual. Before the priestess could react, Emily plunged the shard into her own chest. The pain was blinding, but it wasn't just pain. It was release. The mask screamed, not the one in her hand out, but the one inside her. The priestess screamed too, dissolving into ash as Emily fell to her knees. Flames erupted around the circle. The masked followers howled and burned, one by one turning to dust. And then, silence, aftermath. Emily awoke in a hospital bed. Jake was beside her, hand in hers. You stabbed yourself, he whispered, voice cracking. She nodded weakly. It had to end, for good. He squeezed her hand. It's over. She smiled faintly. No more masks. Epilogue. Months passed. Emily returned to school. Her face healed. Her laughter returned. Jake stayed close, though they never spoke about the priestess again. One autumn evening, as Emily walked home, she passed an alleyway. A shadow moved, a flicker of white. Just a trick of the light, probably. She didn't look back, but in her mind a whisper echoed, distant, faint, almost loving. We are always watching, Emily, and we remember.